earning hundreds of thousands of US dollars a year, but always unable to save money. Picture this. A physician in Chicago pulls down $380,000 annually. She is behind the wheel of a leased BMW. Her children attend private academy. Most weeknights, she is at restaurants. Cooking feels like wasted time after 12-hour shifts. Her mortgage runs $4,200 monthly. Every external marker screams success. Wealth, security, the American dream fully realized. Goldman Sachs dropped a report in 2025 that should have made headlines everywhere. 41% of Americans earning over $300,000 annually. They are still living paycheck to paycheck. Not struggling families, not entry-level workers. People clearing $500,000 in household income. Pause on that number. 4 out of 10 households making massive monthly incomes. They make more in a month than median American families earn all year. Yet they experience the exact same financial anxiety. The same sleepless nights, the same panic when unexpected expenses hit. You've been sold a lie. The lie says income solves money problems. Hit 6 figures and stress evaporates. Cross 200,000 and you're set. Reach 500,000 and money becomes irrelevant background noise. Every promotion, every raise, every career advancement was supposed to bring security. The data reveals something completely different. What you're witnessing is the high-income poverty trap. It doesn't discriminate based on salary, it only measures one thing: how much you keep versus how much you spend. People earn more, spend more, save the same percentage of nothing. Then wake up at 55 wondering where 3 decades of income disappeared to. This isn't moral judgment about spending choices. This is pattern recognition. A financial pattern affecting millions of Americans who never see it coming. Because they assumed the equation was simple. More income equals more security. The math seemed obvious. The logic felt bulletproof. Bank of America defines paycheck to paycheck as spending 95% on necessities. Under that definition, 20% of households earning over $150,000 qualify. Nearly 24% of all American households meet this threshold in 2025. These aren't financially illiterate people. They're educated professionals in demanding careers. They understand compound interest. They've seen projections. They know they should save more. The trap doesn't operate on arithmetic. It operates on psychology. When income increases, spending increases in direct proportion. This mechanism has a name: lifestyle inflation. It happens so gradually, most people never notice the shift. A $15 lunch becomes $25. The Honda becomes a BMW. The adequate apartment becomes a massive house. A house with guest rooms that nobody ever uses. Each individual upgrade feels reasonable in isolation. You earned it. You can afford it. The monthly payment technically fits the budget. But upgrades compound while savings stay flat. Once a luxury becomes routine, downgrading feels like deprivation. It feels like deprivation rather than returning to normal. You're not cutting back, you're suffering. That psychological shift locks the trap shut. Research on actual millionaires tells a completely different story. A different story than how most high earners live. The classic study from The Millionaire Next Door revealed something fascinating. Most millionaires don't look like millionaires at all. They live in average neighborhoods, drive older vehicles, rarely display wealth. Ramsey Solutions found 94% of millionaires live in middle-class surroundings. Let's run the numbers, because this is where the illusion collapses completely. Empower surveyed actual millionaires in 2025, not people pretending to be millionaires. People who crossed 7 figures and stayed there. 62% of them still budget, they still clip coupons. They still compare prices before buying, even after they made it. The typical millionaire has never spent more than $399. Not once on a single piece of clothing. 60% live in homes worth less than $500,000. Warren Buffett bought his house in 1958 for $31,000. He is worth over $100 billion, and he still lives there. You see the problem now: the people who actually have wealth. They don't look anything like the people who look wealthy. The doctor in the leased BMW looks rich. The plumber in the 10-year-old truck looks ordinary, but he has $2 million in index funds. One of them is building security, the other is renting the appearance of it. The authors of The Millionaire Next Door created a formula. It is brutal. It is simple. Take your age, multiply it by your pre-tax household income. divide by 10. That number is what your net worth should be if you're accumulating wealth instead of just spending income. A 50-year-old making $250,000 should have $1.25 million in net worth. Not in income, in net worth, assets minus debts. Most high earners don't come close. A $700,000 a year surgeon can be poorer in real terms. Poorer than a $50,000 a year janitor. A janitor who saves 20% and avoids debt. The spending pattern determines everything. The salary determines nothing. Run that formula on yourself right now. Multiply your age by your income. Are you above that number or below it? If you're below, you're what they call an underaccumulator of wealth. You're spending your income instead of converting it into assets. Most people earning six figures fail this test catastrophically. Charles Schwab asked Americans in 2025 what it takes to be wealthy. The average answer was $2.3 million. They said you need $839,000 just to feel comfortable. Not wealthy, just financially comfortable. Meanwhile, the median net worth of American households sits at $193,000. The gap between what people think they need and what they have is a canyon. 63% of people in that Schwab survey said it takes more money. More money to feel wealthy this year than it did last year. The finish line keeps moving. You hit $500,000 in net worth, and discover comfortable now requires $839,000. You reach $1 million and find out wealthy means $2.3 million. The goalpost shifts every time you get close. Now look at the spending data. Households earning over $100,000 carried an average credit card balance. A balance of $12,760 in 2025. The top 20% of earners hold 35% of credit card debt. They represent a fraction of the population, but carry a third of the debt. This makes no sense until you understand what they're financing. Lower-income households use credit cards to survive. They're buying groceries and gas because the paycheck ran out on the 23rd, and rent is due on the 1st. Higher-income households use credit cards to maintain. They're financing a lifestyle that technically fits their income, but it leaves absolutely zero room for error. Both groups end up in the exact same place. Owing money, paying interest, trapped. Total U.S. credit card debt hit $1.27 trillion. That is the highest number since tracking began in 1999. It is up 66% since early 2021. This happened while incomes were near record highs. People earned more and borrowed more at the same time. Bankrate found that 36% of credit card holders earning over $100,000 carry a balance from month to month. More than 1 in 3 people making six figures can't pay off their credit cards. They're earning top-tier salaries and living with revolving debt. The math is simple, and the behavior is invisible. You can't see someone's net worth by looking at their car. You can't calculate their savings rate from their zip code. The $380,000 a year doctor and the $50,000 a year janitor might both have $8,000 in the bank. One of them thinks that is normal because expenses are high. The other knows something is deeply wrong. 70% of Americans carrying credit card debt have been trapped in it for over a year now. That is up from 53% the year before. This is temporary anymore. This is the new permanent state, even for people clearing six figures. The debt doesn't disappear when you earn more. It just gets more expensive. Look at the housing trap. When you are making $50,000, landlords cap what you can spend. The system protects you from yourself. But cross into $300,000 territory, and suddenly you qualify for mortgages. Mortgages that will absolutely destroy you. Same percentage of income, wildly different exposure. A family earning $80,000 spends $2,000 monthly on housing. A family earning $300,000 spends $8,000. Both families have the exact same percentage going to shelter. Both feel equally squeezed. The higher earner just has a bigger number on the mortgage statement, and the same zero flexibility when something breaks. This is where the wealth illusion collapses completely. Private school tuition, multiple car payments, vacation home carrying costs, country club memberships. These aren't luxuries you can drop. Once you're in, they function exactly like fixed costs. Try pulling your kid out of private school mid-year. Try selling the vacation home without looking like you're failing. Try downgrading the car without everyone at the office noticing. Clarify Capital Research tracked how six-figure earners respond to financial pressure. 47% are delaying dream vacations. 31% are stalling home renovations. 26% are postponing car purchases. 17% are pushing back buying houses. These delays tell you everything. High earners know they're stretched. Now check the savings rate. December 2025. The U.S. personal savings rate hit 3.6%. Americans are saving roughly $360 for every $10,000 in disposable income. During the pandemic peak in April 2020, that number spiked to 33.8%. Stimulus checks arrived, spending opportunities vanished, and Americans accidentally discovered what aggressive saving felt like. That money is gone now, spent, absorbed back into the consumption machine. Someone earning $300,000 who saves 4% accumulates $12,000 annually. But relative to their income and lifestyle costs, they're equally vulnerable. One unexpected expense and both are reaching for the credit card. Compare that to actual wealth accumulators. The Millionaire Next Door research found that millionaires typically invest at least 15% of annual income before paying for anything else. They pay themselves first. Savings isn't aspirational, it is non-negotiable. The difference between 4% and 15% compounds brutally over time. After 30 years, the 15% saver has built substantial wealth. The 4% saver has accumulated a modest cushion that probably won't sustain a comfortable retirement. Same years, same market, completely different outcomes. Social comparison accelerates the entire trap. A 2025 Goldman Sachs report explicitly cited keeping up with the Joneses as a primary driver of paycheck-to-paycheck living among high earners. Social media broadcasts everyone else's vacations, renovations, and purchases in real time. Six-figure workers feel pressure to match peer spending, even when the math doesn't support it. The uncomfortable truth about breaking this pattern is that it doesn't start with a budget spreadsheet or a financial advisor appointment. It starts with something far smaller and far more annoying. Take that $179 monthly food delivery habit. That is $2,148 annually vanishing into convenience. Add streaming services growing 12.5% year over year. Rideshare spending up 7.9%. Subscription boxes nobody remembers signing up for. Each charge is small enough to ignore. Together they create a baseline lifestyle that requires the full income to sustain. The millionaires who actually built wealth didn't avoid these categories entirely. They made one specific choice that high-income earners caught in the trap refused to make. They decided which three things mattered and cut everything else without negotiation. Not reduce spending across the board, not be more mindful. They picked three categories worth paying for and treated everything else like it didn't exist. This selective brutality is what 44% of millionaires mean when they say they spend on experiences over luxury goods. They're not choosing experiences because experiences are virtuous. They're choosing three specific things and ignoring the social pressure to care about the rest. The doctor making $380,000 who can find $5,000 without selling something is funding dozens of small conveniences that each feel reasonable in isolation. First-class upgrades that cost $400 more than economy. Hotels instead of Airbnbs adding $150 per night. Restaurants instead of home cooking burning $200 weekly. None of these expenses feel excessive when you are earning $32,000 monthly, but they compound into a lifestyle that consumes everything. Research shows 73% of millionaires never carried a credit card balance. Not because they couldn't afford to, because they understood compound interest works for you or against you, and they refused to fund the wrong side of that equation. The average millionaire worked and saved for 28 years before crossing the $1 million threshold. Most didn't reach it until age 49. The path was gradual and mechanical, not dramatic. This timeline reveals what the high-income poverty trap actually costs. Someone earning $300,000 who saves nothing for 15 years has burned the most valuable compounding years. Even starting later, that time is gone permanently. Here is the mechanical action that breaks the pattern. It is boring, it is uncomfortable, it works. Open your bank statement right now, not next week now. Count how many recurring charges hit your account last month. Not the amount, just the number of separate charges. Write that number on paper, physical paper, not a note app. Tomorrow, cancel one subscription, not the expensive one. Not the one you should cancel, the one you forgot existed. The next day, cancel another one. Do this for 7 days. 7 subscriptions gone, don't replace them. Don't upgrade to annual billing to save money. Just remove them. This isn't about the dollar amount saved. It is about breaking the automatic yes to convenience spending. Every subscription you cancel is proof that you can choose not to fund something, even when funding it is effortless. After 7 days, you'll have a new baseline, fewer automatic charges, slightly more friction between impulse and purchase. That friction is where the pattern breaks. The high-income poverty trap survives on frictionless spending. Every saved payment method, every one-click purchase, every auto-renewal. The trap depends on you never stopping to question whether you actually want what you're paying for. Canceling 7 subscriptions in 7 days forces the question. It is mechanical, it is small, it is the opposite of a dramatic financial overhaul, and it is the only action that actually changes behavior, instead of just changing intentions. The trap stays locked because you're looking for the wrong exit. You're waiting for the promotion that finally makes saving effortless. The bonus that changes everything. The year when expenses naturally decrease and wealth automatically accumulates. That exit doesn't exist. The only exit is the one you stopped believing in, because it seemed too small to matter. The high-income poverty trap isn't about deprivation. It is about intention. Most people trapped in it never consciously chose their spending patterns. They accumulated expenses gradually, each decision reasonable in isolation, until their entire income was committed. Reversing it requires auditing every recurring expense and asking whether it still delivers value proportional to its cost. Often the answer is no. Subscriptions go unused, square footage goes unoccupied, vehicles go underdriven, memberships provide status more than utility. A $200,000 income with a 30% savings rate builds wealth faster than a $400,000 income with a 5% savings rate. The math isn't complicated, the behavior is. 77% of Americans feel financially comfortable regardless of what they earn. 40% of those making $500,000 live paycheck to paycheck. Total credit card debt hit all-time highs, while incomes remained near record levels. The evidence is overwhelming. Only intentional choices about what portion of income to keep, rather than spend, create the security that most people assume high incomes automatically provide. The trap is real, breaking it is possible.